Linear functions in context. This problem is about car rentals. The cost, C, in dollars, of renting a moving truck for a day is modeled by the function C of x equals 0.25x plus 35, where x is the number of miles driven. Question A, what is the cost if you drive x equals 40 miles? Now remember we said earlier that in a linear function there will be an initial value and there will be a constant rate of change. So our initial value here is 35. That's just the flat rate of just renting this truck. And then apparently it's 25 cents a mile. So what we want to do is substitute 40 for x. So we're finding C of 40. We're going to multiply 0.25 times 40 and then add 35. So the cost of renting this moving truck for 40 miles will be $45. Question B, if the cost of renting the moving truck is $80, how many miles did you drive? So we'll start with our function, and we now know that the cost is 80, and we have to solve for x. Let's subtract 35 from both sides, and now let's divide by 0.25, which is the same thing as multiplying by 4. So we know that if we rented this truck for 180 miles, it would have cost $80. Part C, suppose that you want the cost to be no more than $100. So that's the most money you have. What is the maximum number of miles that you can drive? So here we'll start with our function, but we'll take our expression 0.25x plus 35 and set it less than or equal to 100. We have up to $100. We can spend 100, we can spend less than 100, we just can't spend more than 100. And we'll go through the same process. We'll add 35 to both sides. Excuse me, we subtracted 35 from both sides. And now we'll divide by 0.25. And we get that x is less than or equal to 260 miles. So that means I can drive for a total of 260 miles to be sure that my cost is no more than 100. Now question D says, what is the implied domain? Remember, domain are our allowable x values. Well, I suppose if cost is if I have as much money as I need, I suppose I can drive as many miles as I want, but I can't drive fewer than 0 miles, right? So x has to be greater than or equal to 0 is my domain. Now let's say I ask to find the range, which are the corresponding y values. Remember, my initial value is $35 just to rent the truck before I even drive any miles. So y has to be greater than or equal to 35. So that was an example of a word problem involving a linear function.